Good morning and a very warm welcome to the LPI and to this Learning Live digital event presented by Entelechy. It's my pleasure to welcome so many L&D professionals internationally today. So I'm just checking that you can hear my audio, that you can hear me nice and clear. So if you can, just utilise the chat function, just pop your name, where you're calling from. Always great to see where everybody is calling in from today. So just a bit of housekeeping, if I can just ask you just to remain on mute throughout today's Learning Live digital event so that our expert panel can give us their undivided attention, that would be amazing. So I can see lots of people just joining into the room now. So Laurencia calling in from Accra in Ghana. So lovely to have you with us. I've been to Accra on some of my travels, an amazing place, really a lovely place to live. So welcome to you. Good morning, Jonathan. Jonathan's calling in from Rickmansworth in Hertfordshire. So lovely to have you with us. So just a big welcome to those that are just joining into this Learning Live digital event. My name is Scott Shepherd. I'm the Learning Development Manager here at the LPI, and I'll be your host up until 12 o'clock when I hand over the reins to our expert panel. Our expert panel today will be taking questions throughout, so please do utilise the chat function and they'll get round to answering as many of those questions as they can during today's event. So we're going to be joined by Mike Alcock, Head of Enterprise, and Rachel Smith, Head of Learning. And be looking at New Year, New Learning Culture with Character. So the basis of a learning culture is the individual. Human beings as a collective create a culture, not formal learning solutions or choices in how you set up your workplace environment. So today we're going to be exploring how to focus on the character of the people in your organisation and how to develop the learning mindset that automatically creates your learning culture. So we're going to be joined by Mike and Rachel at 12 o'clock. So as are all Learning Live digital events, they are free to attend, and you can find previous recordings on the website on some truly inspiring sessions from L&D professionals from around the globe. L&D budgets are often quite tight, as we know, so that's why we've made all Learning Live digital events completely free. So just pick a session from our calendar and register, as easy as that. So we're not limiting you to a time window. Learning Live digital sessions are scheduled all year round, meaning that you can dip in and out whenever you wish. So never miss a session. All Learning Live digital events are recorded and previous recordings are available to LPI members only. So if you're not an LPI member, you can become one. Just head over to www.thelpi.org/membership, where you can find post-nominals digital badges to reflect your professional status within the L&D community, exclusive access to selected learning resources and research, and discounts on many learning environments, products and services. And we will be adding some exciting new additions for 2023. So watch this space for exciting new additional member benefits. So if you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to you. My name is Scott Shepherd. I am the Learning Development Manager here at the LPI, and we'll be your host up until 12 o'clock. So if you have just joined us, just pop your name, where you're calling from into the chat area. Always really great to see where everybody's calling in from. So we'll be joined by Mike Alcock and Rachel Smith. Rachel Smith has been a teacher for over 24 years. For more than 10 of those, she also worked with Edexcel, part of the Pearson Group, as Chief Examiner. With a master's degree in education and many years of experience in educational research, Rachel is determined to transform learning to equip individuals with the qualities needed to thrive in an uncertain world. We'll also be joined by Mike. Mike has got 20 years of leadership, sales and marketing experience in the e-learning industry. Having previously run two of the UK's leading e-learning software providers, Mike started his career in sales, selling bespoke e-learning content to global blue chip companies. Mike founded Atlantic Link Limited and was managing director of Gomo as part of Learning Technologies Group. So we're going to be joined by a panel of experts from Entelechy at 12 o'clock. So I can just see some more people just joining into the session today. Very warm welcome to you. Hi, Maria, she's calling in from Sunderland. So lovely to have you with us. You can join the LPI and our panel of experts within L&D on the topics to upskill yourselves and share this with your organisations, team members, etc. Michael Strawbridge and I host events once or twice a week. And as I said before, always free to attend. And you can find some truly inspiring and innovative sessions coming up for 2023. So just head over to www.learninglive.com/digital. If you haven't taken the LPI's new capability map, this is refreshed every 4 years, and the latest refresh project was in October of this year, 2022. So this is a free tool for L&D professionals to map essential skills for the modern L&D. You can identify your strengths and skills gaps in critical L&D areas such as hybrid learning, project management, data analytics, and more. So compare your results against others and peers in your own learning development department, and you can understand what's needed to build future capability. It is a free tool to use, and you can download your free report once you have gone through and completed your free self-assessment. So I'm just going to pop the link into the chat area. So if you feel like you would like to go ahead and do that, it's a completely free resource to use. So you can be able to see where you might need to upskill, reskill in these 24 essential skill areas that 20 L&D global heads of learning, chief learning officers have come up with myself over the past few months. So if you have just joined us, a very, very warm welcome. See, Megan's just joined us in from Glasgow. So lovely to have you with us. Kenneth calling in from Whitstable. Nice to have you with us as well. So we'll be starting on the hour at 12 o'clock. Session duration today, 45 minutes. Again, if I can ask you just to remain on mute throughout today's event, and don't forget to pose your questions during the session. So you can just pop those into the chat and the panel will answer as many questions as they can during today's event. Our aim at the LPI here is to give you, our L&D community, the skills and latest knowledge from industry experts on current subjects that are key to personal development and organisational capabilities. Every quarter, the LPI release the top 5 challenges that L&D are facing, and you can head over to the LPI's main website where you can go through and look at the latest data. This is released every quarter, and the next quarter will be coming in January. So you can just see those top 5 challenges that L&D are currently facing. So not just you and your organisation, but as a global collective of those things that we can tackle together through learning live digital events and other ways and research reports that the LPI release every single quarter. So keep up the latest trends and data at your fingertips, and you can also connect with the LPI on LinkedIn and for all future Learning Live Digital event sessions. So hashtag Learning Live Digital. Our session today will be recorded. If you want to go back and look at any previous recordings, you can do. As I said previously stated before, you do require to be an LPI member. But you can go and look back on the past year's Learning Live Digital events that have been recorded from many, many different organisations and tackling the biggest issues in L&D. So if you have just joined us, a very, very warm welcome. We will be joined by Mike and Rachel from Entelechy, looking at New Year, New Learning Culture with Character. So the basis of learning culture is the individual. Human beings as a collective create a culture, not formal learning solutions or choices in how you set up your workplace environment. So we're going to be exploring how to focus on the character of the people in your organisation and how to develop the learning mindset that automatically creates your learning culture. So just a few more minutes now before I hand you over to our expert panel. But if you have just joined us, a very, very warm welcome to you. Lovely to have you with us on today's session. If you have just joined us, just pop your name, where you're calling from. Always great to see where you're calling from. Rachel Smith has been a teacher for over 24 years, and for more than 10 years, she's also worked with edXL, part of the Pearson Group, as a chief examiner. With a master's degree in education and many years of experience in educational research, Rachel is determined to transform learning to equip individuals with the qualities needed to thrive in an uncertain world. Mike has over 27 years of leadership, sales and marketing experience in the e-learning industry, having previously run 2 of the UK's leading e-learning software providers. Mike started his career in sales, selling bespoke e-learning content to global blue chip companies. And Mike founded Atlantic Link Limited and was managing director of Gomo as part of Learning Technologies Group. So we're going to be joined by Mike and Rachel in about 1 minute or so. If you have just joined us, very warm welcome. Just see Sheena calling in from London. Lovely to have you. Teresa from Lisbon. Andy calling in from London. Sonia from Leeds and Ruth from London as well. So very, very warm welcome to you. I know you're going to enjoy today's session. Got a great session packed full of information, knowledge and skill. So without further ado, I'd like you to introduce you to Mike Alcock and Rachel Smith. Welcome to you both.
Hi, Scott. Thank you. Good morning. Fabulous to be here. Thank you for the introduction. Okay, are we ready to go, Scott?
You are, yeah. All your presentation is clear and you're all ready to go. Over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. Really appreciate it. Scott, thanks for the introduction. You've said it a few times, but I will introduce myself again. My name is Mike Alcock. I'm head of enterprise at Entelechy Academy. For those of you who might recognize my mugshot, I've been around in the industry, as Scott said, for quite a while now. I've been in sales and leadership positions at a number of companies. I founded Atlantic Link in 2002. That was one of the world's, in fact, it was the world's first cloud-based e-learning authoring tool. I then moved on to become managing director of Gomo Learning, also a cloud-based authoring tool. So if you think, if you're looking at the pictures and think, I know that guy, then that's my background in the e-learning industry. I'm delighted to have actually cancelled my retirement because of the opportunity to join Entelechy Academy, which I thought would make a huge difference to potentially millions of people. So I'm delighted to be here today. I'm one of your presenters. Rachel? Rachel, you there?
Should I unmute? Is
Yes.
that a good idea?
Yes.
You know, do you know what? I'm on it. Nice to meet you all. My name's Rachel Smith. I'm the head of learning. And as my bio told you, I'm a teacher through and through. It probably be engraved on my headstone at the end of my days. I'm a massive believer in the need to transform learning and the need to move it away from schooling to something that's more self-determined. And that's a little bit of what we're going to be talking about today. So the title that we're going with is New Year, New Learning Culture. We all like to think of something fresh happening from January onwards, as if we can just transform everything because the year's turned over. Well, we think we can help you do that. And that new learning culture can come with an emphasis on the individuals within your organisation and their individual character. So that's going to be our focus today. And Mike's going to get us started.
Thank you. So what is a learning culture? Lots of definitions out there, lots of people talking about what might form the basis of a learning culture. And what we're seeing in a lot of organizations today. So I'm going to ask the question, is it the content that you store on your LMS? I mean, that's something that lots of big organizations are doing, throwing off-the-shelf content and bespoke internally created content onto an LMS and pushing it out to thousands of learners. That might be a learning culture. Maybe it's the collection of formal courses that you put together for your teams. It could be the quality of the physical environment that you provide for learning within your organization, or even the accountability model that you put in. How do you track employees' learning? How do you measure? Is it quizzes at the end of an e-learning course, for example? But we believe that these are all external elements that organizations have traditionally used or even imposed on learners. And not necessarily forming the basis of a learning culture. We believe a learning culture comes from people, something that's people-centric, human-centric, and in particular, with a focus on character qualities, which is what we're going to talk about as we go through the presentation today. So we believe a learning culture, the way to inculcate that within an organization, is to get a state of mind in every individual within your organization. Your organization is a combination of the people within that organization. And if they've all got a learning culture mindset, then that will flow into your organization. So we believe the need for a human-centric approach is essential, and that's what we're trying to do with Entelechy Academy. and both myself and Rachel will go through the theory behind this need and our approach to delivering a human-centric approach to creating a learning culture. What you're seeing on the screen now is 54 character qualities, and we believe you can build a learning culture on the foundation of character. We've categorized these into 6 categories and 3 subcategories, so people, productivity, and purpose. We've got personal, interpersonal, performance, acumen, nurture, and impact, and you'll see a list below, 54 character qualities. And let's just pick a few examples in here. Let's imagine strategic imperative of your company was to drive efficiency. What would happen if you asked all the individuals within your organization to focus on how efficient they were as a person? The outcome of that should be efficiency for the entire company. So you're starting at the personal level, the human level, getting people to be more efficient and driving efficiency throughout your company. Alternatively, maybe your company's identified there's a leaning towards people working in silos, and you need to break these down. So you could, from the list on the screen here, encourage every employee to focus on being a bit more collaborative as their significant point of development. And again, that's going to drive collaboration across the organization. Or you might be in a place where people and productivity are working in alignment and you're trying to go to the next level. What would happen if you encouraged every employee to focus on being more influential and developing their character to be the influential way that your company needs to be? So by building on these individual character qualities at a human level, you can drive your company's character. With those 54 character qualities, we've also mapped these into our unique Be, Do, Become framework. And if you read this particular communications level here on the screen, if you read from right to left, if your company's aspiration is to be better at communication, in our framework, we've identified the 7 soft skills that should help your people to be better communicators. So briefing, processing feedback, knowing your audience, public speaking, all of these are soft skills that can help your company be better at communication. But underpinning those soft skills are the character qualities that make your people better at, say, doing briefing. If they were more expressive, organized, and discerning, that would feed into the briefing soft skill. And so we've mapped these across 11 aspirations, 77 soft skills, and 54 character qualities. If we drill down into just one example here, this is one we see in a lot of big organizations. We need our people to be better communicators. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to send them all on a presentation skills course, because we've got lots of people delivering presentations. And so they go on a presentation skills course and they'll learn how to use PowerPoint. Maybe they'll learn how to do a bit of research. Our argument is that if they don't know, if you're not working on the character qualities that underpin that soft skill, you're not necessarily going to make people better presenters. Can you imagine how much better your people would be at presentation if they were more confident, energetic, expressive, humorous, empathetic, and sincere? These are the character qualities that drive the soft skills that will make your people be better presenters. And that's the area we're focusing on, character qualities. Rachel, over to you.
Thanks, Mike, much appreciated. So essentially what we're suggesting is that to create this learning culture, we have to have every individual in your organization with a learning mindset. And what I'm here to do is to show you how a learning mindset can be created with an individual to create a learning culture within an organization. So if you have a look here, what you see is a model of how that learning mindset can be delivered. And it's about putting the learner there so that they can develop themselves. So first of all, we suggest a period of self-discovery. Where am I now? Where am I going? How do I get there? So there's this self-awareness that's required in order to make a powerful start to your learning journey. And that's where we advocate that people begin. Then we suggest that the learner themselves has to take responsibility for exploring the thing that they want to learn. So if a certain aspect is important to them, then they should be empowered to know how to find that information. In the past, a passive model of providing all of that content hasn't worked, and often content curated libraries are left unread for the large part, and only read probably in order to answer a multi-choice question. So rather than expecting a passive relationship with content, we encourage the idea that learners should be given the active responsibility of finding the relevant content, the relevant wisdom that will help move them forward. We then suggest that knowing is not the be-all and end-all of learning. It's a starting point. Knowledge is an important starting point to learning, but it is only that. Knowledge needs application. It needs you to put it into your experience. It needs you to experiment to see if it works. So we advocate this idea of putting action plans in place, not to drive you towards goals, but to see if it will work or not. So you put the action plan in place with a what if question rather than a I will statement. And in so doing, you open yourself up to the possibility of learning. And that's the real key crux of a good learning mindset, is the curiosity, the opportunity to learn. And then 70% of all powerful learning, as I used to say all the time to my team when I was in education, is reflection. The ability to formulate your own questions and to shape your own learning. And then the final stage is feedback. And we all need that feedback to close that virtuous circle of learning. So having that moment where you have to be accountable to submit something that then gets feedback back, A, offers validation, and B, offers accountability. And both of those things drive us forward and keep us motivated in terms of our learning. And we're different. We don't suggest that this is a formal activity that you stop everything to do. So schooling in the past requires you to stop, go to a classroom, sit down. You're now told you are learning now, and it's an event. What we suggest instead is that if you want this learning mindset, it's present all of the time. It's a way of thinking about your world. And can you imagine if every single person in your organization thought about their world as if they were learning all of the time rather than in set formal activities, how powerful that would be to moving you towards that learning culture that we all aspire to, and is actually number one in the current list of concerns in the LPI challenges facing L&D leaders. Now, talking theory is brilliant, right? And it's part of what we've said. Start with knowledge. Excellent. But the second thing I said to you is knowledge without application isn't really learning. So I'm going to ask us all to go through an experience of just what I've just spoken to you about. So in a minute, the 54 character qualities that we've defined will appear one at a time on the screen. And the question to you is simple. Which one of these character qualities would improve your performance at work today? Which one of these character qualities will improve your performance today? And oh my goodness, I'm going to ask you to interact. So if you could put in the chat what you think your character quality is that you feel would improve your performance today. So I'm going to press go and they'll appear one at a time. So I'm going to do that awkward thing where I sit in silence for another 60 seconds while I see 45, well, 42, because I'll discount Mike Scott and me, plonking there the one quality they could choose to improve their performance today. So we've got disciplined and adaptable at the top there. Influential, pioneering, encouraging. Oh, nice ones. Encouraging, I love that one. We all need a bit of encouragement at this time of year when it's getting dark at night. So a few more seconds. There seems to be a lot of people who would love to be influential. And that, do you know what? I love that, because what that shows is we're all L&D people who all want to make a difference on the people we work with. So I think that that's pretty apt. Makes me optimistic. Another one, boom, for the future. So that's amazing. So the next stage in this little learning experiment we're going through here is to think, who knows most about that character quality that I have just selected? Now, of course, we could send you off to the internet and you can Google and you can find a TED talk or a Forbes article or a Harvard Business Review, and there'll be brilliant actionable insight into there. But here's a revolutionary idea. Is there a line manager, a friend, a family member, a colleague, anybody who exemplifies that character quality to you, who you could go and ask or send a direct message to right now and say, how do you manage to be so, insert your character quality? How come you're so influential? How come you're so disciplined, which also came up a lot in chat? So again, in the chat, think, who could I ask who could give me a really good action to become more of this character quality? It's actually quite exciting seeing the chat number go up. It's doing my ego no harm whatsoever, Mike. Nice. Somebody's got a mentor. That's amazing. We all mentor each other. We have weekly coaching sessions where we support each other in our hopes and dreams for our character. Lead of the business. Excellent. Asking a client, that's an interesting one. That's a real insight, especially if they put, I mean, that's quite a good relationship builder, isn't it? You personify this character quality. How do you do that? So we've got all of these ideas of how we can start exploring. And there are experts out there in the world that we know of. So for instance, vulnerability has been a massive one for me recently, because I'm a proper northern lass, so we don't do emotions. So, you know, that's a real big growth opportunity for me. So I went to Brené Brown. I love her work and the idea of daring to lead. Equally, the sort of strategic thinking that's offered by Simon Sinek, that would be another place I might go as an expert. So it's not so you can ask the people close to you who personify this, or you can go seek out the experts. But essentially what you're looking to do is find that piece of actionable insight that you can put into an experiment that you can try today. So I'm wondering if you've got something stored inside you already that you know that you could try. So for instance, if you've chosen influential, I'm sure you know deep down there's something you could be doing if only you'd put it into place already. So for instance, I'm trying to be a thought leader. I've told my CEO that, and he's helping me no end to become that. And I know realistically, I have to post regularly on LinkedIn if I want to be that thought leader. Even when I only get, when LinkedIn tells me 3 people have read it, I still have to keep posting, because it's through that constant interaction that my audience builds. So my action plan might be post regularly on LinkedIn. I'm going to do that for a month, 3 times a week. I will know if it's working if my followers increase or my number of connections increase. So that's an action plan. So think for yourself. Again, if you could drop it into chat, this one's a little harder, I'll give you that. But if you know something inside yourself that you could really put into action right now, this afternoon, for your character quality, it'd be nice to see that dropped into chat. I will stop talking for 60 seconds again, which will kill me. I feel the cogs of thinking going on. There we go. Nice. Ask for data to start getting a bigger picture of the insight and how we operate. That's amazing. Avoid being distracted by side tasks to stay on task for the day. Oh my goodness, Megan, me too. Me too. Especially certain social media channels. And avoid saying yes to everything. Amy, my COO, is a life coach, and she tells me the power of no, which is quite refreshing from my manager. Present an elevator pitch of a business case to my CHRO today. Wow, go for it, Andy. Loving it. Chat with Rupert later today. Always helps me become more discerning. I like that. I want to meet Rupert. I need to be more discerning. Avoidance of procrastination. Thank you, Francis. But I like the fact that you put that in the positive afterwards, to put a to-do list in place. So these are all powerful small actions that you can do right now. Try out, see if they'll work, and do them consciously. And do them consciously as an experiment, rather than just doing them as a part of your daily work. Sorry, I just read Grace's comment. Just effing do it, I think, is going to be my mantra from now on. So yeah, these are like things that you try with the thought process that they might not work, but they might. And what you're trying to do is to assess whether these are things that you can put in place that will have a massive impact, or evolve and change them if necessary. And that's where this final section comes in, which is reflection. Now, I used to tell the people I taught that whenever I make up a question for them, I'm stealing 95% of the learning from them. That's my genuine belief. Question building is that curiosity is huge. So, for instance, I could ask Andy, why is an elevator pitch to the CHRO today a really good thing that would bring value? So what's the hypothesis behind that? Is essentially I'm asking. I could ask Megan, why do you get distracted in the first place? What is it that's going on that means you get easily distracted? And basically by asking lots of why questions, accessing that in a toddler you can sometimes get to a much deeper reason why those things are happening, and then shape and formulate your action based on that. Now, that very simple demonstration is how you begin to think like a skilled learner. It's that rather than being told how to think and being told what to read and being told what to do, you're being encouraged to learn how to think for yourself, learn how to shape actions that could change your world and change the world of your organization. And it's from that you start to develop a learning mindset once you do that habitually. Remember that line on our slide, a little bit every day? These things done as a one-off, like I've just walked through with you, will end up just being another formal learning activity. The idea is this is how you want people within your organization to go about their daily practice, to think about the way that they go about their work. Who could I ask that could help me do this so much better than I'm doing it right now? Will this action that I'm putting into place move the dial on what I'm attempting to do? And what, why and how questions can I ask that will drive a deeper understanding of what is going on here? Now, our hypothesis has been all the way through this, that if you look at the individual and you ask them about what it is about them as an individual that they could up level, that would help them in their work today, and if you then gave them this learning mindset, these steps that come automatically into the brain, then you have the making of a learning culture, because it's not wholly imposed from the top and it's largely driven from beneath. And most cultural change must be agreed upon by the whole and driven from the ground up. Now, what we've done is, because we are, well, I say we, but I am a bit of a geek and I like taking on a challenge. We took the top 10 learning challenges that you can access on the LPI dashboard when you're a member. So there are 5 are available to everyone, but if you dig deep, there are actually 10. So what we've done is put together a white paper that explores how this learning approach to learning, this methodology, can help you with each of those 10 learning challenges. And if you scan the QR code on the screen, that will give you an opportunity to download that and have a read, and then potentially get in touch and discuss with us your thoughts. Now, I personally would very much value feedback on that from the L&D experts on the calls. That would be amazing for me. And I hope it's of interest to you. But right now, we've got that moment when my screen won't change. There we go. Because we do love why and how questions. So it's feel free to drop them into the chat, or if somebody has spotted ones that I haven't spotted, send them through and either Mike or I will seek to answer them for you.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, if you do have any questions for our expert panel on this truly great look into learning culture, then just pop them into the chat, and then I'll ask our panelists. We've got a question here from James. James has asked, how do you motivate people to do this? How do you tackle the I don't have time mindset that often forms a barrier for this type of culture?
Yes, completely. Because to begin with, what you're dealing with is a whole load of people who've been schooled, who you have to move them over to this sort of mindset of learning. First of all, we suggest it's 10 to 15 minutes a day and no more to begin with, because it's about habit building. And the suggestion is that it could be done in the queue for the coffee, it could be done in the 10 minutes between meetings. So it's actually a direct challenge to that idea that you don't have time. It's a direct challenge to that idea that please don't make me stop and go on a day's course because I've got so many deadlines coming up. We actually suggest, no, don't send them on a course. Being told what to do doesn't actually work. but do please spend 10 minutes while you're waiting at Costa for them to make your latte, to have a little think, to have a little plan, and think about with curiosity what it is that they can do next. But what we also do is we, within Entelechy, offer a sort of an experience point system where the learner can gain experience points within the app. And we're actually accredited by the Continuing Professional Development Standards Office. So we have a certification number, which means that we can give accredited CPD points, which can be downloaded as a certificate. So there is a direct reward that comes from doing this work, and after a while, hopefully that will go from extrinsic motivation to intrinsic because of the habit building nature of it. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Rachel. While we're just waiting for some more questions just to come through, I would love to ask a question. So what is the research behind the approach that you've shown here today?
Mike, do you want to, or shall I?
Right, go for it, Rachel.
Okay, so about 5 or 6 years ago, we started our research process by asking heads of learning, HR directors, what were the soft skills? Because at the time, the big idea out there in the world was the soft skills crisis. So we asked them to list the soft skills that were important to them. We came up with a list of about 800. So we filtered through that, and shocking to say, but all but 300 were technical skills or hard skills, things like PowerPoint presentation building or Python programming. So we removed those, and we removed duplications, and we ended up with 300. We then got a room full of ex-consultants together to hone that list of 300 down to the list that we enjoy today. We've tested that and tested our 54 character qualities, which comes from our work, my work as a teacher, Amy's work as a coach, David's 30 years in mentoring, where we understood that there were these essential qualities, but we didn't just trust our experience. We put those to the test with Britain Thinks to create a qualities index. And then again with a YouGov.uk survey that asked whether these were the right character qualities, if anyone could think of any more. So we've basically really dug deep into the idea of the character qualities to make sure that that BD Become framework that underpins this idea of developing your character to create an organization is thoroughly valid.
Thanks, Rachel, for answering that. David has put a question in. Surely if the organisation spells out half a dozen questions that they would like everyone to be, so for example, efficient, and everyone has to do a 360 every 6 months evaluated by their peers, everyone will focus on the organisation, what it wants its people to become better at?
Completely. I mean, can you imagine if today you just sent out a message and said, right, I want every single individual, let's imagine you've got 1,000 company enterprise, and you sent a message to all 1,000 people and said, today, please focus on being efficient just for the next 6 hours. How much that would move the dial on the company in such a short amount of time in terms of the impact that has. And yes, you can equally find out what those character qualities are by doing a very similar process that we have in the app. So I can ask other people, what are my strengths and what are my growth opportunities, and they can come back and tell me. But if you imagine escalating that up to a company level and saying, what are the company strengths, what are the company growth opportunities, you can then actually find a consensus within your organization, within your culture, what it is you agree that you would love to push forward. And then again, there's that culture, that ownership over what everyone is developing. And then they all buy into asking those questions to drive those opportunities forward.
Thank you, Rachel. Question here from James. Do you engage any particular group in the process that can drive engagement? So for example, do you create champions or get line managers on board so they can help drive engagement within their teams?
That was one of the massive learnings we've had from our user testing, is that you need those. We've been in the market for a year with a prototype product where which we've introduced to independent training providers in order to learn to create the best product that we can now, and was launched in November. And what our massive learning from that is, if you don't have those advocates, those champions within the workplace driving this forward, then people lose that motivation. So what we offer is it comes with an ITLM qualification at the end of it, and the Institute of Leadership and Management offer us an accredited 8-week mentoring course where those people become the people that then can support everyone else within the organization, pushing this forward, sending out the right questions, driving that sense of community that would make this highly successful within an enterprise. And we have a whole set of processes that we have in place that we've designed that we believe will build that sense of that upswell of engagement that you would require in order to keep this sort of mindset going within an organization.
Philip has asked, how would we integrate this framework alongside others that we already use in our business so that we don't end up confusing our staff?
Shall I go for that one, Rachel? So yeah, we've done this exercise already for a number of very large organizations. We're aware that a lot of big companies already have existing skills frameworks, competency frameworks, and so on. And as part of our consultancy offering, so basically the learning experience is delivered through an app that can be rolled out to thousands of people. But before we do that, we don't just say, here's an app for 10,000 staff, off you go. We do a consultancy piece working with heads of L&D typically. And we have part of that consultancy is to look at existing frameworks, and the bit that's missing from a lot of these frameworks, they identify skills and they identify competencies, but what they've never looked at before is mapping character qualities to those frameworks. So part of our exercise can be to look at those skills that organizations may have identified as looking to improve in the frameworks, and we can then map our 54 character qualities to those skill sets so that we're all in alignment, that the character qualities we've all agreed we want to improve across the organization are these, they're going to drive into our skills framework, and they're going to give us the results that we're looking for.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mike. Got a few more questions here. Teresa has asked, how can I evidence impact of this within my organization?
So to build on what Mike was saying about how would you integrate it into a complex L&D HR scenario, as Mike rightly points out, this either comes on as a platform or as a bring your own device app. But the integration that comes with that would be to a dashboard and what we call the enterprise signature. And what the enterprise signature does is offer a significant number of data points that allows you to track the impact across your organization. So for instance, the standard ones, amount of time spent working in the app, but the number of badges awarded because the person's been through one of the journeys and sought an assessment, number of XP points gained. But then we can dig deeper into those XP points and we can ask, so where do they get those XP? Do they get it from exploring lots? Do they get it from actioning, putting action plans into place? Do they get it from reflecting? Because there are certain aspects of learning we all know are more active and more transformative than others. So that allows that those data points allow you to drive up the more powerful learning of actioning and reflecting within the app. However, the real impact data comes from this idea of doing the 360, this idea of seeking verification and validation of your strengths and a diagnostic of your growth opportunities. So we also offer the ability to see top level data. We won't allow for access to the individuals' personal data in terms of what they've had written about themselves, but the numbers come through on the dashboard, so you can see the strength and growth opportunities of the people within your organization. And then we can do the enterprise 360, and you can see the gap between your company and your employees and the affinities between them. So there's a huge amount of analytics there that will help you deep dive into the character and culture of your organization and give you the opportunity to move the dials in lots of different ways, but also build the business case that allows you to keep this strategy moving, this strategy of creating this learning culture that's based on a learning mindset forward.
Thanks, Rachel. James has asked a question. From your research and testing, what would you say are the biggest pitfalls people can fall into when they're trying to create a learning culture, and how can you avoid them?
The biggest pitfall is thinking that you can impose it and that it comes from the delivery of opportunity, and only opportunity, and not an encouragement or an understanding of how to go about it. So I'm a massive fan of somebody called Ken Robinson. I'm sure you know who you might have seen some of his work, but basically he's right. Schooling has failed us. It's stripped us of our capacity to learn. So I think the biggest mistake and pitfall from that research you can make is to try and impose the same schooling culture within an organization and believing that you will have results now. So you have to move the dial and change the approach if you want every person in your organization to take self-directed personal responsibility for the work that they're choosing to take forward, and their own personal development and their own professional development. They take ownership of that. So that means rather than being the expert in the room and delivering the formal learning, the opportunity that you offer is the opportunity to learn how to be the learner that will allow you to be the best person that you can be, and evolve, and taking on that harder challenge. And it is a harder challenge because it's not as simple as just dropping content into a library. You now have to consider how you're evolving the thinking of the people within your organization. But if you do take on that challenge and you can see the vision of how that might work, the impact the proven impact that can have is just astonishing in terms of making each individual within your organization responsible for their own movement towards their own ability, potential within your group.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm conscious of time, and I know we're sort of short on time at the moment, but I just wanted to go back to a comment that Megan has made, and a great comment saying that I think these characteristics could be reinforced, discreetly integrated to a company via the company values. Our company values encourage the characteristics which we would look to see across the company. Our internal values are now commonly used by employees when we send out praise. The values and characteristics of the company is part of the norm.
Amazing. That's amazing. You are already on a journey towards creating that culture, and we see the vision, mission, values of a company as integral within this too, and that in shaping the character of a company. So that's brilliant. It's amazing.
And just one, I think one last, Yahari has put, can the platform or app integrate with Microsoft Teams?
Ooh, I don't think we know it is the honest answer at the moment. Possibly, we'd probably want to understand the use case and how you might want to do it, why you want to do it, and so on and so forth. And anything's possible technically, we'd probably want to take that one away and have a bit more of an in-depth chat. So apologies, we can't answer directly. There's not a out-of-the-box integration, but it's something that might be possible if it was going to add value to both sides.
Brilliant. Thank you for confirming that. So just before we do leave, I know we've got about a minute to go before we do finish up today. Is there any sort of closing comments you'd like to make, Mike, or anything from yourself, Rachel?
Well, obviously, please, if this all sounds of interest, then you can see our contact details. We're Entelechy Academy. We'd love to have a more in-depth conversation. I think I'd like to say thank you for everybody for answering the questions and, you know, giving Rachel all of that valuable feedback, picking your character qualities, but even more, and we could see for 30 seconds people were probably thinking about typing an answer in there to what they might do and how they might do it, but that was really great. And yeah, we'd be delighted to extend the conversation further. The app's in the App Store, you can search for it now, but we would love to work with you on the journey to creating a new learning culture, and we're here to help.
The final comment from me is that as I don't know if you remember a while back, I said that my aspiration was to be a thought leader, and I'm still pushing for that. And that I'm trying to build my LinkedIn profile. No, I'm joking. But if I do know that this can't be done alone, this sort of change in mindset about learning. So if anyone would like to engage with me on LinkedIn who has a desire to move the dial on this too, I would love to hear from you. That would be amazing.
Perfect. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Mike. I'm just going to launch a poll here just for some feedback for myself and for a Learning Live digital event. So if you wouldn't just mind just popping your answers in there before you do leave today's. But on behalf of myself and the LPI, I just really would love to thank Mike and Rachel for your time today. I'm sure that everyone on the call, lots of engagement, lots of great questions, and I'm sure lots of people have taken away lots of new knowledge, new skills and new expertise from today's event. So I just want to say a big thank you to Mike and big thank you to Rachel for your time and your expertise for this afternoon. So a big thank you to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for all your help.
So on behalf of the LPI, just like to thank you all for attending today. You can find this recording on later on this afternoon and previous recordings of all Learning Live digital events that have taken place over the past year, 18 months. So all it leaves me to say is to thank you very, very much. Wish you all a very, very happy Christmas. I know it's getting to that time of year already. It's getting very, very cold and Christmas feel is in the air. So on behalf of myself, have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Enjoy your break. And I look forward to seeing you all and hosting sessions with you all next year. So on behalf of the LPI, thank you very much and have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.